Okay. I had my screaming fit. Anyway, so I'm going to just eliminate the first one and start all over again. And so this is essential oils and smoking cessation. And I'm still frustrated, clearly. Anyway, so back up a little bit here. Cigarette smoke affects the nicotinic receptors, which is a type of acetylcholine receptor. It's also recognized as an ionotropic receptor, which now ties it into NMDA, the NMDA gene, which is where glutamate and GABA work. Well, where glutamate actually begins to get converted into GABA. Now, here's where it's interesting. So, nicotinic receptor affects the neuromuscular juncture. So this is mobility, okay? This is the reason why people, when they smoke, they actually feel very, very relaxed. That said, there's a lot of heavy metals in cigarette smoke. Clearly, there's other toxins that build up a lot of inflammation. But in my work, as far as trying to identify plant constituents so that I could give you oil suggestions, I really couldn't come up with any other than incensol acetate, which is a diterpene found in frankincense resin, that when you burn frankincense, the real frankincense, as an incense, you can begin to influence this nicotinic receptor in a healthy way, okay, without all the buildup of toxins. But at the same time, I don't recommend just using that for that purpose, because we're not just trying to replace cigarette smoke with something else, although it's a great interim, right? It's something to rely on every once in a while. I highly recommend using oils for a number of reasons. So what's interesting about, like I said, there's heavy metals. And a couple of posts ago, I suggested using magnesium as a supplement for the protection of heavy metals in the cells, because that's one of the things that magnesium does. And I do recommend that for everyone, whether you're quitting smoking or not, just because there's so many heavy metals in our environment. There again, there's a couple of ways this works in the system. All right. So heavy metals get stored in a couple of different places. One being in the brain, called the substantia nigra, because we don't have a very efficient method of eliminating heavy metals from the system. This is the reason why we have chelates and whatnot. So what happens within the first year of life, we begin to store metals, and this is the reason why the substantia nigra goes from gray matter to black. That's why it's called what it is. And so in this process, glutamate is actually used to oxidize dopamine for the storage of heavy metals in the brain. Lemon, there's constituents in lemon that accentuate the oxidation of dopamine. So although it may sound like a good idea every once in a while, I don't recommend using lemon all the time for this very reason, because you don't want to be oxidizing dopamine to the degree. This is the reason why we're talking about mobility and cigarette smoke, because dopamine is needed for physical movement. So we don't want to be oxidizing it all the time. We want to be able to use it for other purposes. So having the ability to slow down the oxidation of dopamine and using other things to help the body flush, okay, and remove, again, with the magnesium. And I'll give you some oil suggestions here in a minute. But it's essential that the glutamate actually, because what happens, the way this gets turned off is the fact that, or I should say the oxidation of dopamine gets turned off, is that glutamate produces glutathione also, and glutathione inactivates the oxidation of dopamine. And then therefore glutamate is also converted into GABA. So the ionotropic receptor, like I said, is involved with NMDA genes, which is the conversion of glutamate into GABA. Okay. So, that's a little bit back. And then that said, additionally, the body produces hydrogen peroxide to also store other metals in bone marrow and other tissues. Okay, so hydrogen peroxide is yet another form of oxidation that occurs to store metals in other areas of the body. And hydrogen peroxide gets produced, it's a reactive oxygen species that gets produced off of the nitric oxide synthase gene complex. And so we're going to get into a number of oils along these lines. So when it comes to, and because it doesn't really, I'm going to give you a selection of oils, and so don't worry about what heavy metals get stored where. We're just talking about protecting the body, okay? So myrrh is a really good one to start with, because number one, it grounds you, it helps to relax the muscles, although we do recognize it for its influence on the endogenous opiate system as well as the endocannabinoid system. Clearly, that interaction right there, because the BDNF, which is the brain-derived neurotropic factor, also influences the production of what is the word I'm looking for? I don't know. I just saw a message pop up, and that's just really bad. I just spaced that out. So, because we recognize the BDNF, which is also is influencing the brain chemistry. Okay, so how this manifests and how it also dips into NMDA really depends on, we can't identify the entire synergistic value of these components, but I highly recommend myrrh. And it's also been found to help protect the body against heavy metals and help the liver as well. So I strongly encourage the use of myrrh for its anti-inflammatory properties, as well as the influence that it has on both the endogenous opiate system and the endocannabinoid system, which supports the immune system. Okay, and the immune system is really what is necessary for helping to keep the body protected from things like this, especially when you include magnesium, because magnesium slows down, because calcium will activate the immune system. Magnesium kind of keeps all of that in check. And right now, with the world that we live in, we're not getting a full use of our calcium and vitamin D. And that's a whole nother video. But because of that purpose, calcium is not being fully utilized by the body, and it is an activator of the immune function. So therefore, if you happen to have an autoimmune issue of any kind, backing off on your calcium supplementation is highly advisable, and that includes any multivitamins you have that have calcium added to them. You get plenty of calcium in your food. You don't need to be taking it as a supplement. The American Heart Association has already confirmed that we have higher levels of calcium than is absolutely necessary in the blood. So, magnesium and myrrh for sure. The next one would be Roman chamomile, because Roman chamomile has been found to reduce the production of adrenocorticotropic hormone, which is the inflammatory hormone that is produced in the adrenals and when the stress response has been activated. Okay, so it actually helps to neutralize the production of that and support the production of GABA. So it means it actually helps the production of glutathione as well as the production of GABA, which now will in turn slow down the oxidation of dopamine. On that note, oils that contain geraniol, which is G-E-R-I-A-N-O-L. That's a constituent I'll write about next week. But geraniol has been found to also support the production of glutathione, So, it could be something like palmarosa, okay, is one. Lemongrass is another one. Lemongrass is one that you don't want to use with an anti-diabetic medication or an antidepressant. So lemongrass, use caution, but so please, when we start talking about these types of oils, or even here in the comments below, ask questions, because I can help guide you as far as which ones would be the best ones for you. But like I said, geraniol, oils with geraniol in it, also support the production of glutathione. Good Lord. So far we have myrrh and we have Roman chamomile. The next one is going to be turmeric. again, for its anti-inflammatory effects, its support of the liver, and its ability to help the body relocate, better support the body's production of inflammation, slowing that. I just really, yeah, and it's also very supportive of the digestive system, more specifically, which is essential for proper neurochemical production, or effective neurochemical production, because the introduction of heavy metals and other chemicals is stressful to the system. So turmeric, in fact, will help to reduce the effects, minimize the effects of the stress on the digestive system. So I like turmeric for that reason. In the post that just went up a short while ago on methyl-eugenol. Okay, one of the things about methyl-eugenol is, in fact, that it has been found to slow down the production of hydrogen peroxide. Now, we might say that that is a good thing. Well, and then we might say it's not a good thing if we're exposed to all of these heavy metals. Well, we don't want overproduction of hydrogen peroxide, because it is what leads to gray hair. It hastens the aging process. So laurel leaf, in this case, would be one I strongly recommend for supporting the production of, supporting nitric oxide synthase function. It has methyl-eugenol in it, and it also supports a better use of nitric oxide for, again, immune function, as well as mental health, emotional function, production of chemicals, if that makes any sense. It also moves the lymph system, which is crucial to flushing the body. And the next one I would recommend would be cypress, for its ability to kind of protect the kidneys, as well as celery seed. Because again, celery seed will actually help with the elimination of some heavy metals, and this again also protects the kidneys, which is necessary. Cypress contains alpha-pinene, which supports the better use of acetylcholine, which is crucial again for muscular movement and full systemic, benefiting the digestive system as well. I'm just thinking here if there's anything else I want to recommend. Goldenrod. Goldenrod supports the liver, supports the kidneys, supports the lymph, as does carrot seed, supports the lymph as well as the liver. And these, of course, are always impacted by stress. And I apologize for any traffic noise that you hear, but welcome to my new office. A couple of days a week. So anyway, that said, I have listed out myrrh, Roman chamomile, turmeric, oils containing geraniol, that ends in an OL, and the two suggestions I gave you were lemongrass, because it does support the lymph system, as well as palmarosa. Palmarosa also supports the use of acetylcholine. Lemongrass is not to be used by anybody using any sort of anti-diabetic medication or antidepressant. Then after that, I recommended laurel leaf for its influence on nitric oxide synthase, as well as the lymph system. Turmeric for its ability to support the digestive system, like I said. Then there was cypress for its effect on acetylcholine, just the restoration of hormonal balance, as well as protecting the kidneys. And then there was celery seed, which supports liver, heavy metal processes, as well as and it supports the kidneys. And then by that, I finished up with goldenrod, which is lymph, liver, and kidneys, as well as carrot seed for liver and lymph. Okay, so please let me know if you have any questions, but those are the ones I would recommend for just helping the body restabilize itself once you've quit smoking, and helping it to eliminate toxins, as well as just stabilize that stress response and keep your system strong and protected. So anyway, I hope you're well. Thank you for putting up with me. Thank you for being here. This is life, and I'm in the middle of just settling in. We're currently we've got our eye on like 40 acres of land, and it's just, and yeah, we're here in the desert, we're in the mountains. Maybe I'll share some pictures with you of what I've been taking. It's just been, it's just been trying to get set up, and in the middle of a pandemic, it's been an interesting experience. So anyway, appreciate you guys, and please let me know what questions you may have on this, or anything else, okay? And I will see you very soon. Take care.